Welcome everyone, I'm so glad you're here today. This presentation is all about reconnecting with one of the most powerful and often overlooked foundations of our health, our kitchen. We tend to think of health as something that happens in the doctor's office, in the gym, or through supplements. But the truth is that the food that we eat and we keep in our home are what determine the raw materials our body has to build and repair itself every single day. This presentation is inspired by the work of Dr. Casey Means in her book, Good Energy. We're going to explore how what we eat becomes the structure of our cells, and that starts with the environment we create in our kitchen. My goal is to keep this both inspiring and practical, something that you can take home and start applying immediately. So let's dive in and explore how our kitchen truly becomes the blueprint of our biology. Dr. Casey Means explains that everything we eat interacts with our genes, our mitochondria, our gut microbiome, our hormones, and our immune system. First off, food is information. Nutrients and molecules from food bind to receptors, activate genes, and change cellular behavior. For example, omega-3 fats turn on anti-inflammatory genes. Sugar spikes activate stress pathways and oxidative damage. Polyphenols boost mitochondrial resilience and detoxification. And every meal changes your gene expression in real time. Food is also structure. The proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals we eat literally become our cell membranes, our hormones, our enzymes, our muscles and tissues, and our neurotransmitters. This means we rebuild ourselves based on the quality of what we consume. Food is also communication. Our cells are constantly listening for instructions. Whole, nutrient-dense foods provide clear communication. Processed foods provide mixed or harmful signals, leading to inflammation and metabolic dysfunction. Food is also our future health. Every biological system is impacted by what we eat. Our immune strength, our longevity, metabolic stability, our mental health, and our hormone balance. This is why the kitchen becomes so central. It determines what information we give our body every day. Our modern food environment shapes our metabolic dysfunction. Most homes are filled with foods that are nutrient poor, inflammatory, high in sugar, high in industrial oils, devoid of antioxidants or fiber, and microbiome disrupting. When this is what's available, it's what we eat, and therefore what our cells become. Environment drives behavior more than motivation. Research shows that willpower is a very weak driver of long-term health. Instead, it's our environment, our kitchen setup, that determines what we eat 85% of the time. A kitchen stocked with whole foods naturally leads to less snacking, more cooking, better blood sugar, better energy, and better mood and cognitive function. The kitchen is a biological construction zone. Everything in the kitchen, the pantry, and the freezer becomes raw materials for our membranes that decide what comes in and out of the cells, our mitochondrial energy production, microbiome diversity and stability, inflammatory signaling, hormone and neurotransmitter synthesis, immune function. Your food literally becomes your structure, so your kitchen literally shapes your biology. Your kitchen can be a health tool or a health trigger. A whole food kitchen supports metabolic health without forcing you to work hard to be healthy. A processed food kitchen overpowers the body with inputs that create inflammation, oxidative stress, glycemic instability, microbiome imbalance, cravings, and overeating. This slide transitions beautifully into stocking your kitchen for optimal function because it frames the kitchen as the getaway to cellular health. This is the core biological truth. Our body is constantly rebuilding itself. The way food becomes structure is beautifully simple and profoundly important. When we eat, the digestive system breaks down food into molecules. Those molecules circulate through the bloodstream and get delivered to our cells. Our cells use them as building material for membranes, enzymes, hormones, neurotransmitters, and more. Now let's walk through each component. Our cell membranes are made mostly or entirely of fat. If we consume healthy fats like olive oil, avocado oil, nuts, and seeds, we create flexibility, responsive membranes, which allows hormones like insulin to work properly. But if we consume industrial oils like canola, soybean, and corn oil, the membranes become stiff and inflamed, leading to things like insulin resistance and poor cellular hydration. Now, our mitochondria, these are little organelles produced for our energy. They depend on high quality nutrients. When mitochondria get in the right inputs, they have steady energy. When they get processed carbs, sugars, or chemicals, they become overwhelmed, which leads us to the fatigue, brain fog, mood swings, and inflammation. Now, our microbiome is basically our internal garden. When we feed it fiber and phytonutrients, it produces metabolites that lower inflammation, protect the gut lining, and influence hormones and mood. When we feed it highly processed foods, the ecosystem weakens and promotes metabolic dysfunction. Our hormones and our neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, melatonin, and cortisol, these need to be balanced. It all depends on the nutrient availability. If we want stable moods, deep sleep, less anxiety, and fewer cravings, this is where it begins. Now, detoxification is also important because the liver relies on nutrients to neutralize and remove toxins. Without these nutrients, toxins accumulate and burden the system. Food is not an optional background noise. It is the material your body uses and needs to build itself. So when we say you are what you eat, it's not just a saying, it's biology. Eating is an act of communication. Each meal tells our cells something about the world we live in. Dr. Means describes this as a process of biological translation, which essentially is converting what we eat into molecular messages. When we eat real food from nature, our cells understand it and respond with vitality. When we eat processed foods filled with artificial compounds, our cellular language gets all confused. This is why fatigue, brain fog, and inflammation often trace back to what's happening at a cellular level. So an important question to ask yourself when you're choosing what you're eating or what you're stocking your kitchen with is this food helping my cells understand what to do, or is it sending mixed signals? Now, the information on this slide is going to connect kitchen organization directly to our cellular health. By intentionally stocking these foods, you're ensuring that your body always has the right materials to rebuild healthy tissues. Dr. Means emphasizes that mitochondrial efficiency depends on these nutrient-dense, unprocessed foods. We want to encourage you to visualize your grocery cart at your next generation of cells. Every item is either helping or hindering their biological structure. Now we want to remove the foods that disrupt our cellular communication. This would include examples of ultra-processed seed oils, refined sugars and sweeteners, and those highly processed foods. And of course, we don't want to forget the artificial flavors, dyes, and fragrances. Now, this isn't about perfection, it's about direction. Every time you replace a processed item with a real, whole ingredient, you're reducing inflammation and improving cellular communication. Casey Means highlights that inflammation is often a signal mismatch. Our inputs, such as food and environment, don't align with what our body expects. By cleaning up the kitchen, we restore the clarity so that the biological communication and conversation can continue. Now this slide connects our home environment with long-term metabolic health. Dr. Means emphasizes that modern illness is often the result of the mismatch between cellular needs and environmental inputs. The kitchen is where this mismatch can be corrected. So why does the kitchen matter so much? It determines what you eat without thinking. Most of our eating is automatic. We grab what's convenient, visible, and ready. Your kitchen either sets you up for cellular nourishment or sets you up for metabolic stress. A supportive kitchen makes healthy choices and behaviors defaulted and not a struggle. The kitchen also determines cellular raw materials. Everything your cells are made of comes through your kitchen. So if your kitchen has clean proteins, healthy fats, colorful vegetables, fermented foods, antioxidant-rich foods, your cells have the materials they need to thrive. If your kitchen has processed foods, sugary snacks, refined oils, low nutrient foods, your cells are forced to rebuild themselves with weak materials. This is the foundation of chronic inflammation and metabolic dysfunction. The kitchen also reflects our values and our future health. Every time you stock your kitchen, you are casting a vote for the type of health you will have next week, next month, and next year. Members love this idea because it helps them understand that health is not built through big dramatic actions. It is built through the environment we create at home. Now this all sets us up for a ripple effect. What happens when we stock intentionally? The ripple effect touches every part of our health: energy, mood, immunity, hormones, and longevity. When we nourish ourselves with the right inputs, we can see benefits across every system. Dr. Means explains that when we change what we eat, we change our metabolic signaling, and our whole physiology shifts. This slide will help you see the big picture. Stacking up the nutrient-rich kitchen is not just quote-unquote eating healthy. It's building better cells. This is how people experience more energy, clearer thinking, less inflammation, deeper sleep, and better overall resilience. Now here's a few simple steps to start rebuilding. Right in your kitchen. This is meant to be practical and not overwhelming. Behavior science shows that small environmental changes create the biggest long-term results. So I want to encourage you to choose one micro action this week by cleaning a drawer, replacing a cooking oil, or buying a new set of vegetables. These little shifts will lead to big metabolic wins over time. Now we do want to leave you with a few educational paths to continue your education and success. You'll see recommended reading material, including the book that this presentation was inspired by. And you'll also see some helpful tools that you may want to consider making for yourself. I want to thank you for joining us for this presentation. I truly hope that this is going to be an inspiring way for you to restock your kitchen and refuel and build your health on a cellular level. This presentation was brought to you by Corey and Smith Health for Life Medical Center and Restore Hope for Health. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please find more information at shop.cshealthforlife.com.